Welcome to the channel talking all things Zelda. Today's video is one I've been looking forward to making for a while, digging into some theories of one of the most intriguing and hauntingly emotional Zelda games ever made, Majora's Mask. You'll want to stick around as we delve into some of the mysteries of this creepy parallel world. But first, a quick word on what makes this game so special amongst the Zelda community. This is a game that has some complex themes, none more so than the deeply entrenched idea that everyone in the world experiences pain and regret to some degree, and that most are fighting a battle that cannot be seen. The parallel world of Termina, therefore, draws close parallels with our own. I'd like to think it's a game that to this day inspires people to consider their approach to others in their life, and hopefully instills the importance of adopting a caring and selfless attitude where possible. We don't necessarily know exactly how and why someone is hurting, but empathy and patience are tools that should be in everyone's repertoire, tools that can help alleviate the pain or scars left behind by traumatic experiences or tough times. Majora's Mask is a powerful story, one that caught many off guard, and I'd argue gets better and more impactful on each subsequent playthrough. Probably because we, as players, have gained more life experience by each successive juncture, and perhaps more scars. It is for these reasons and more that it is a truly fascinating game to peel back the layers on. Let's get into some theories then, with a look at possibly my favourite region in all of Zelda series history, the Ikana Kingdom, the land where only the dead roam. This ruined kingdom was, and to some extent still is, ruled by the Ikana royal family. Its fiercely loyal subjects continue to serve even in death. The spirit of the King of Ikana, Egostu Ikana, still sits upon his ruined throne in Ikana Castle, protected by the ghost of his royal guards. But what exactly did cause the downfall of this kingdom, and when exactly did it fall? How does Majora's Mask fit into all of this, and what purpose does the Stone Tower Temple serve? While the region's past is mostly shrouded in mystery, we are given some clues as to the circumstances that led to the kingdom's demise. After the curse upon Sharp, one of Ikana's royal composers, is lifted at the Spring Water Cave, he proclaims that it was the trickery of the Skull Kid that caused the dead to linger in Ikana. Majora's Mask and the havoc it has wrought throughout Termina has led many to perceive it as a figure akin to the devil, much as Hylia is a goddess in Hyrule and Ganon her antagonist. Here we have the giants as deities and Majora to oppose them. But why is this relevant? Well, Sharp's brother, Flat, states that Sharp sold his soul to the devil and locked Flat in the prison in the graveyard, likely referring to a deal Sharp struck with Majora in his desperation to realise his dream of the revival of the royal family, no matter the cost. So perhaps the royal family perished in the casualty-heavy war with the Garrow, with the thirst for blood continuing to pervade the kingdom. The catalyst for such war I will come on to shortly, but it was in the citizens' desperation, most particularly the royal composers, that has compounded the mistakes made in Ikana and turned this into a realm where the dead cannot be at peace, instead made to wonder the canyon eternally cursed. The game, after all, implies that the curse is due partly to the mistakes the people of Ikana made. The suggestion throughout the game is that events have taken place relatively recently. Think of Link almost saving the Zora Mikau at Great Bay, and Darmani's death at Snowhead occurring shortly before Link's arrival. The most logical theory here is that the Kingdom of Ikana and the Garrow Kingdom have been at war for a substantial amount of time, but it is perhaps only within the last 50 years that the royal family perished, perhaps on the battlefield, thus ending the bloodline of the long lineage of Ikana. This would also be enough of a time lapse for the castle to fall into disrepair. Think what 100 years did in Breath of the Wild, for example. It would make sense that the royal composers had been looking for a way to bring the royal family back since their fall, gradually becoming more bitter as the years progressed. And it wasn't until Majora and the Skull Kid turned up that they actually believed they could make this a reality. But why exactly has Majora cursed this region? The game states that Majora's mask was used by an ancient tribe for hexing rituals. What if the ancient tribe referred to were the inhabitants of the Ikana kingdom, or at least dwelled somewhere within Ikana, meddling in things they should have left alone? A powerful sorcerer named Majora, being this world's version of Ganon, took the Ikana kingdom's worship of the 4 giant deities a step further, creating powerful masks born from dark magic, bestowing unique but terrifying powers on their wearers. The prime example of this is the giant mask, which Majora created to rival the power of these deities. Stone Tower was created as the place in which rituals were performed and humans could take giant form in order to get close to and converse with the gods. The King of Ikana, however, realising Majora had gone too far with his lust for power and affinity for straying towards the use of dark magic and hexing rituals, perhaps even sacrificial in nature, and was planning something even more sinister, turned Majora's power against him and trapped his soul and power within a mask of his and his kingdom's own undoing. Majora's mask. The king then ordered the mask to be sealed away in a place it would never be found, where no poor soul could unwittingly stumble across it, and this is why the graveyard is so heavily guarded, with Captain Kita himself being a colossal in both life and death. Perhaps the king thought that this was symbolic, in that the mask and spirit could in theory be at rest in the graveyard, and thought this was also sensible, being a place few would expect an item of such power to be housed. But as generations passed, whispers grew of a bodiless evil, stirring in the shadows, a power unlike any other. Little did the king know that Majora, spirit within the mask, had his own designs, and was biding his time patiently, influencing the minds of the weak from afar. I believe that this is the exact reason the Garou initially attacked the kingdom of Ikana. It was all part of Majora's ultimate plan to escape his graveyard prison and enact his revenge on Ikana. And so, stories of the mask's power passed down over generations, leading to nations like Garou seeking it out, sending in their ninja spies to compile more information on the mask's whereabouts, and thus began the bloody battles that ultimately led to each kingdom's demise, to the total ruin of Ikana Kingdom in fact, opening the door for thieves and most notably the happy mask salesman to plunder the graveyard, an opportunist if ever there was one. He's a creepy guy, and someone we understand will go out of his way to swindle those around him for his own gain. This was also the ideal opportunity for Majora, as it would allow him to travel the world waiting for the right vessel to inhabit and control, an unwilling victim through which he could bring his unspeakably evil plans to fruition. The story comes full circle therefore, as it is ultimately Majora making his way back to Ikana to compound this kingdom's misery, seeking to eventually realise his revenge, and placing Twin Mold in Stone Temple to prevent the giant deities and others from lifting the curse. Do you agree with my theory? What do you think could have caused the kingdom's ruin? Let me know in the comments below. And if you share my passion for all things Legend of Zelda, please help me out and hit that subscribe button. I've got lots of great stuff planned. Thanks, have a good one, and catch you next time.